Hi, Kurtz here, and this is Easy Access Math. And today what we're going to do is solve a quadratic. And I'm going to show you the standard method, and then I'm going to show you a little shortcut you could use on a multiple choice test by using some substitution. You know, when all else fails, substitution is a very good tool to use and can help you on a multiple choice test. I must caution though, if you're going into a math major, eventually you do need to get to do the skills involved in actually solving, because you won't have choices, you won't have those guardrails. But on a multiple choice test, you can use some logic and some cleverness to get the right answer. So I'm going to show you that as well. Let's do it the real way first. Let me show you this quadratic. But what you want to do first is you want to set this, x squared plus 3x equals 10, to equal 0. So it's going to look like a trinomial. It's almost going to look like factoring. And that's going to give me x squared plus 3x. And what I'm going to do is take away 10 from both sides, and that will give me the minus 10 here, and equals 0. So now it's in the form to solve. But if you remember this looks like solving a quadratic, in factoring actually, solving by factoring. And so let's take a look at that. How about if we think of two numbers, and we'll make our parentheses, two numbers that multiply to negative 10 to that last number and add up to 3. And I could do that because I don't have a number before the x squared in that lead position, meaning a is 1. And so I can just think of two numbers that add up to positive 3 and multiply to negative 10. And remember, with signed numbers, add could mean subtract. You're thinking of some of the numbers? Let's think of the multiples of 10. We have 10 and 1, and we have 5 and 2. And if you subtract 5 and 2, you will get 3. So, and I have a positive 3, and so it would be x plus 5, x minus 2. If I FOIL this, and remember FOIL's a very good check, I would have x times x is x squared. X times negative 2 is minus 2x. Plus 5, and x is plus 5x. And last, 5 plus 5 and negative 2 is negative 10, which gives me x squared plus 3x minus 10. And that's what I had here when I moved over that 10 to make it equal 0. I have a negative 10. So this would be my FOIL. This would be my factors. Putting it short, when you're solving, not factoring, and these are both x, not 2x or anything like that, you flip the signs. You go with the roots, and that would be your solution. So one of my solutions would be x equals negative 5, the root, the opposite. And my other solution would be x equals opposite of negative 2, the opposite sign, positive 2. So my solution would be negative 5 and positive 2, doing it that way. You're getting the roots of the numbers, and you could do that if these are just plain x's with no numbers before them. You're basically changing the sign. So if you ended up with x plus 5, x minus 2 in a factor, the solution, when it says solve, would be the opposite sign. Negative 5 and negative 2 becomes positive 2. Positive 5 becomes negative 5 as a solution, and negative 2 becomes positive 2. And often with a trinomial, when you're factoring a quadratic, you have two solutions. Not always, but often, it's two solutions. So be very careful if in your choices it says only, be sure that some other number doesn't also work. That's kind of the real way to do it. But I told you I was going to show you substitution. So we're back with our regular example. And let's say you don't remember that, or you do want to do it as a check. You get the answer, but you want to be sure. As a check, substitution. And please watch some of our videos on substitution, our easy access videos, or any of the great videos on YouTube on substitution in mathematics, because that'll help you with a lot of problems in math. Using substitution, I will copy the equation down again, but I will substitute my choices anywhere I have an x. So if I look at letter A, letter A says 5 only. Let's try that. Now, I want to be careful before I pick that, because that word only means no other number works. But let's see if 5 works. I will do 5 squared plus 3 times 5 equals 10. 5 squared is 25, plus 3 times 5 is 15. And 25 and 15 equals 40. It does not equal 10. So A cannot work. A cannot work because 25 does not equal, 25 plus 15 does not equal 10. So let's try B. B says -5 only. -5 squared plus 3 times -5 equals 10. -5 squared is 25, because the -5 is in parentheses. So it's -5 times -5. 2 negatives in multiplication, as we remember, become positive. Here I have positive 3 and -5. Please remember the sign. I almost left it out. Always remember to put your sign in. Unlike signs are negative. 25 take away 15 is 10. That works. It works with -5. So B has potential. -5 works. Now, I don't know if I'll even want to try C, because C doesn't have a -5 in it. And I know -5 works. I proved that. 25 take away 15 is 10 when using -5 as my substitution. Let's look at D. D, I have a -5, and we know that works. And also positive 2. So let me try that. Maybe positive 2 also works, and then there are 2 answers. X equals -5 and X equals positive 2. We want to be sure before we pick anything only. Be very careful. Usually, the answer is not only one number. Usually there are 2 solutions. Not always, it could be, but usually there are 2 solutions. So check, check, check before you pick anything only. Be very careful, please. Now, positive 2. I want to test that out. Positive 2 squared plus 3 times positive 2 equals 10. And I have the positive sign there, but you know you don't even need a positive sign for positive 2. If a number doesn't have a sign, it's assumed positive. And positive 2 squared is 4. Positive 2 times positive 2. 3 times positive 2 is, 3 times 2 is 6. 4 plus 6, guess what? 4 plus 6 is 10. -5 and positive 2 both worked. So I proved that using substitution with choice D, that -5 and positive 2 both work. Remember, that was the answer I got when I did my quadratic factoring, and then I flipped the signs. I ended up with -5 and +2. But if I forgot that whole format, I could still get the answer testing out each choice using substitution. Please watch our video on substitution. It kind of illustrates how you could use substitution for this and several other problems, and you'll be guaranteed to get the right answer. Because the number that substitutes correctly, where you have it equal, will be your answer. But be careful, it could be a choice that has two solutions. In this case, -5 worked and +2 worked. And that's your methods for solving a quadratic and using substitution as a check or an alternate means.